what I'm doing today is the sea grapes. And yes, there is such a thing as a sea grape. And no, I don't know how they taste. I'm not going to even go there and give that a try. So, all right, let me get to my overhead camera here, and we will get going on our sea grapes. So this is what a sea grape looks like. They can grow very, very tall. Some that we've been to by the coast here in Florida are, 10, 12 feet high, and people use them as sound barriers and stuff, and property dividers. So they can get quite large, and their leaves are massive. They're like this big around. So this is in no way going to do it justice in terms of size-wise, of course, but I'm going to share with you how to create these. So hopefully some of you know what I'm talking about. I need some sap green here. So I've got citrus and sap green, and my last drops out of that bottle, and some white, wicker white. Don't need a lot of that, so that ought to do it. A little bit of burnt sienna. This is going to help give me some of those different color tones that go with these. I'm going to put out a little bit of daffodil yellow also. I think I got burnt umber, a little bit of burnt umber. So just putting a little bit of these colors out. We don't need much. Okay, so I'm going to get a 12 flat and get that damp. All right, so I'm double loading my 12 flat with some burnt umber and some wicker white, and I'm adding just a little bit of burnt sienna in here as well, okay? And we're going to do the trunks and branches for these first. There we go. I'm going to put out just a little bit of medium because I'm on paper. All right, dip into that, work that into my brush. Okay. So I'm going to come right here and we're going to stroke some stems. And like I said, these are very woody and can get pretty good in size. So I'm going to push and create my first trunk. Get a little more burnt umber. Okay, so I've got some branches here. There we go. All right, so this is what the trunks or the stems would look like, right? They're kind of a shrubby sort of thing. Like I said, they get about, they can be anywhere from 2 feet tall to 10 or 12 feet tall, so they can really get up there. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to pick up all citrus green on my 12 flat, and I'm going to come right over here next to my sap and just side load a little bit of that to darken the inside of my stroke, okay? And then I'm going to come over here on the light green edge, I'm going to side load a little bit of white. All right, so I've got citrus sap and white on my 12. All right, so these are lobe shaped. They're kind of rounded and they have two sides and they come together in the center. So I'm going to put some in the back here, and they're kind of round, like I said, rounded, and they kind of wiggle. It's almost like a geranium leaf, like half of one or 2/3 of one. I want to get a little more white, but they're much, much bigger. Okay, so that's one. Have a hard time stopping with branches and twigs. Me too. I could play and do those all day, but most of them get covered up. Okay, so here's the next side. So they kind of join where the dark edges come together, and I'm on the flat of the brush with a little bit of a wiggle, and then stand back up. So they've got like a two-sided set of leaves, and they join at the center where the two sides touch, and they stem off of there. Okay, and the stems come from behind, so you don't really see them coming into the leaves themselves. Okay, so that's one. I'm going to do another here with, I'm going to side load a little bit of the burnt sienna on my light green edge. All right, get a little medium. And when they get older and they've sat out in the sun and they start to bronze up, just like we do, they get some really pretty colors. They can have orange in them. And I've seen some amazing paintings by some artists where they've added all sorts of different colors. All right, so now I'm going to go grab some yellow on that light green edge here. Brighten that up a little more. Get a little more of the sap green. Medium. A little more yellow. All right, so now we have a brighter one here. There we go. Stand that one up. And then I might come side load a little bit of white, and we're going to put this right over the top of that one here. Okay, so that's what they look like on a plant. They start to come off the branches, and you can have just some partial ones. The thing you want to be careful with when you're doing any kind of leaves on branches and plants is you don't want them all flat facing you. Okay, so you might want to do some where you're getting a side look at it, like that. Maybe grab a little bit of white here so I can help that one show over top of the other one. There we go. Okay, so you got like the side view, like it's facing to the left there. Let me grab a little burnt umber on my green edge. Get a little more of the citrus green, a little bit more white. So you just kind of play with these colors and have a good time. So there's a bigger one. Let me get a little more white on that. There we go. Okay, what kind of paper am I using? I'm not laughing at you, Kat. I get that. Donna and I both get that question all the time. It's not special paper. It's just an artist pad. This happens to be Artist Loft drawing pad. That's all it is. You just want to look for a smooth paper, nothing with heavy texture. And you want to make sure you're using medium when you're on paper, okay? And you want to make sure you have enough paint in your brush. That was a lesson that we worked on today in one of my private student lessons, making sure that you're not starving the paint, because that's a lot of times that's the problem people are having with their strokes. It's not that they don't know how to do the strokes, it's they're unhappy with them because they're so thin, and it's because we're not putting enough paint on our brush. Okay. Okay, so there we go. And then you can go on and on and on with these if you wanted to. I'm just going to do one more right here. Okay, so just a little bit. And that yellow is very transparent. That's why you can see the stems behind. So I'm going to add some white to that. There we go. Okay, now what happens is, these are the leaves, but what happens next is you want to have the grapes. Donna Jansen, it's magical paper. It's funny, and honestly, Kat, I'm not laughing at you or making fun of you. I understand, because I've been there. It's like, why is her paperwork and mine doesn't? And it really is more of what you need to put on your brush. How much paint you have on your brush, etc., etc. So making sure you have enough is important. All right, now before I add the grapes, I want to come in here with my script liner and add some of the veining. These have a lot of veining in them. And so I've got some water and I'm getting some inky citrus green, and I'm going to get some white here. And I'm going to come right in here in this one right here, and we're going to add these veins. Okay, so just very lightly, kind of like what you would see in the wings of a dragonfly, right? Oh, so I was saying the paper. I do a lot of answering of Donna's YouTube channel questions, and that's like the #1 question. Ma'am, what kind of paper are you using? Ma'am, what kind of paper is that? And so there is no magic paper, but there's better paper than others, okay? All right, now I'm going to show you, that's the light veining. I'm going to get some sap green here on my brush, and I'm going to come out here and do some of these lighter green ones. Okay, so the sun hasn't bronzed them or turned them color yet, and so they're going to have those veins that show up a little darker green. Okay, so the other thing, the next thing I did was, you can come in, if it's one tone, to give them a little more dimension, I came in with some of the sap or citrus green right over the top, and you go just above those first green lines, and it gives them, makes them look more like they're shadowed. So you can add that, or you could do the white so it shows up on the light green. See there? So it gives them a little more depth. Okay. May I please remember this? You're so funny. Okay, so now we're ready to add our grapes. And you would do that on all those leaves. And if it's further away, you don't have to do all that veining. It's if they're up close, right? So this is what, if you were doing them up close, you would do, you know, something like that. And I've always wanted to do a painting. I've seen these in some of the art shows around here, where people have done these really oversized paintings of just the biggest sea grape leaves, and they look amazing. All right, so I'm coming in here now, and I'm dipping into citrus and dotting the grapes. Now, they look a little flat like that, so you want to dip into white after doing the green and dot that so they have a little more dimension to them, okay? The two tones are always going to work better and look nicer than single tones. And you can dip your brush handle into both colors at the same time and save a little time and do it that way, okay? So they come right through, right from the middle where the two leaves come together, where the stem is behind, and they hang just like a bunch of grapes, but they're more narrow and hang down. They're rounded, but they hang in a long, narrow strand, okay? So that's how you do sea grapes, and I challenge you in your next ocean painting that you do, or seaside painting, add some of those up on the bluff or the dune, and some sea grass. All those things will make it look just that much more realistic, okay? All right, so those are your sea grapes, and I hope you enjoy that and give it a try.